Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Let's get crafting. These are the supplies we're going to be using today. Foam cord board, some chicken wire, these frames from the Dollar Tree, these little garden stems that you can use in flowers or in your yard from the Dollar Tree, and painter sticks. To get started, we're going to go ahead and remove all of the canvas from the wood frames. The fastest way I've done this, and I figured out that I like doing, is I just take my cutting knife, my X-Acto knife, and I just go along the frame. I poke through the fabric, and you're going to see me do it here, and I just kind of slit all along, and it cuts really easy, and then I just pop it right off. And that way I have a nice piece of canvas that I'll save for another project on another day. And then I can pull off that extra fabric that is kind of stretched and pulled really weird up around the sides. That's not really a very good useful fabric to use for projects just because it's pulled and stretched so much. Plus it has holes from the staples. So I like to do this way. It has a nice clean cut. And then I just pull off all the rest. I'm going to be leaving the staples because the staples being on there are not going to be a bad thing. You'll see why in a minute with what we're making. But you go ahead and just pull it all out. Now, one tip that is really important, make sure you do not pull any staples where the joints meet up on the frames. You want to make sure those stay nice and steady or strong. And if they do, just hammer them back down or use your staple gun that we're going to be using here in a minute. So once you've got everything all pulled off, you are going to be having 8 of those. And then we're also going to have 8 of these packs of painter sticks, and in each pack there are 10 sticks. Now remember, do not go out and buy these things right now. If you have them on hand, great. If you don't, then just hold on to this idea. It's a really fun one to try. This definitely is a more advanced project, but I want you all to see what you can do with Dollar Tree supplies and painter sticks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm taking my frame and I'm gluing on the sticks, the painter sticks, with some hot glue to hold them in place. And now I'm going to take my staple gun, and this is why I was saying don't worry about pulling out those staples, because you're going to be using the staples a lot here on this project. So you can see that I glued them on one side and stapled them into place, and now I'm going to do it over on the other side. I'm going to put some glue down, hold all of those sticks in place, make sure everything is the exact same measurement on both sides, because if some of the sticks are off in alignment, it'll cause a problem later on when we get to the end of our project. So make sure you hold everything in place when you're gluing everything down. If you're new to my channel or you're a returning friend, I would love it if you click the subscribe button here and also the notification bell so you don't miss new videos that are coming up on Monday and Fridays. Also, over on my Heidi Sonboul home channel, it's a newer channel. That's where I'm going to be doing all of my clean with me's, decorate with me's, just all of that fun seasonal stuff I show in my home. I will link that channel down below and at the end of this video. So here we are, we have the 2 sides and the sticks going across, and we're going to staple those in place to make sure that they are nice and sturdy and strong. And you can see here at the very end I have a little bit of a hangover that doesn't have one of the sticks on it, and that's okay because we're going to build another tier on this. But first we're going to go ahead and create the shelf part of this project. So you're going to go ahead and put in your sticks, and you're going to make sure that you do the 2 outermost far sticks first, and then kind of space out the other ones on the inside, because there is going to be a little bit of a shiplap look on this. It's going to be spaced apart just a little bit, not too much, but just enough. I always recommend gluing it down first and then stapling everything into place. That way so things don't shift on you when you're trying to glue them. Trust me, it can happen. I've had it happen to me, which is why I'm gluing them. Once you've got those down for your shelf, you're then going to move on to the next tier. So you can see here that I'm moving up and I'm adding on 2 more frames. Now you're going to want to be thoughtful about where those staples are that are around your wood frame. You can see here that I'm hiding them. The outside has no staples, and then the back sides, both of those back sides have the staples facing backwards. So when you're looking at the project, you see just nice clean wood. This is why I was saying don't worry about it, but this is why we're concealing them by having them be on the inside of this structure. So once you've stapled those frames snug to each other, you're then going to continue on where we have that little bit of that hangover, and we're going to fill it in with more sticks. and staple them all down in place. Now where there is that joint where they meet up, I actually did 2 staples on both sides just to make it a little bit stronger, and I pointed to it just a second ago. And now we're going to make our next shelf. So now we're going to move on to the next tier that we're working on, and we're going to just repeat that same process. We're just making sure we've got everything spaced out nicely, and if you glue something down and you think that it doesn't look right, hot glue with wood comes up really easy. Just gently pull it up and it'll come right off. But then once you've got everything spaced the way you like it to, go ahead and staple it all down again. Now I'm going to link my staple gun down below in the description box and the staples that I use. There's a ton that come in the pack, and I ordered mine off of Amazon, so don't feel like you have to go out and purchase these things, because I want you to stay in, I want you to stay safe, but I thought I would show you this really cool project. So you can see here that I've made 2. I have my left side and my right side, and those are going to be the outsides of our structure. The middle does not have any wood sticks that are going down, and that's because we want to be able to have that whole open shelf to be able to put things on, and you'll see at the end with the whole results what I'm talking about. But now we're going to add some hot glue on the sides that do not have any sticks, and we're going to just hot glue it all together to hold it in place. And you can see here that I'm shifting it around. Make sure you get it all nice and straight before the hot glue dries, because you don't want it to be crooked. It can cause issues again later. So just make sure you move quickly but thoroughly. So once I'm done, I set that aside for a second, and I cut down one of my painter sticks. I basically cut off the part that's kind of beveled in. I didn't want that part to be when you look inside. I wanted everything to look straight, clean lines. So I'm going to take that piece and I'm gluing it down to where those frames meet up. I want to make it nice and strong in there. So you can see that I have these pieces here that I've cut down where those beveled edges are gone, like I said, and we're just going to measure them and cut them so that it's nice and clean on the inside. And then I'm going to put a couple staples in there, not too many, because I don't want it to look, you know, too messy. This is the part when you're looking in from the outside that you'll see this nice finished look on the wood. So go ahead and glue that down, and then you can see here that I'm stapling it together. Now I have to tell you, friends, I was a little nervous at first when I started this, because they're just these dollar frames, these dollar canvases from the Dollar Tree, and painter sticks. But by the time I was done, this thing is so sturdy, it's crazy how strong this thing is. So I went ahead and flipped it over, and I did the same thing. And now no one's going to see this side, because this is the inside lip that no one will see. So that part you can staple down really well. Now we're ready to put our sticks across the top, so go ahead and figure out your spacing, get them all aligned right, and then go ahead and start gluing everything down. So you can see here that when I'm putting them down, I'm not cutting off those bevel edges, because I do like them around on the outside of the box. I'm just making sure they're all on the same side, that way so you don't have them kind of all over the place, and it looks like a really intentional, pretty pattern or design detail. So here I am, I'm just gluing them down and stapling everything into place. Make sure you're lining things up correctly. Here I am having to reload my staples. I did use a lot of staples, but the pack that I have that I'm going to link down below has a ton of staples in it, and you will have it for a long time for many projects. So at the very end, you're just going to want to make sure that it's all nice and tight and stapled down. Now we're going to flip it over and work on the back side. You do not have to put chicken wire. I happen to have chicken wire on hand. You could use fabric, or you could just leave it open. That's also really pretty, but I thought chicken wire at the back would be oh so cute. I just could not help myself, and I thought, well, I have some on hand, so I'm going to put some down. So here I am. I made sure I cut it down to the right size, and I'm just stapling everything into place. When you work with chicken wire, couple warnings. First is that it likes to coil up on you a lot because it's wound very tightly. Second is that if it gets your clothes, it can rip your clothes. So make sure, you can see how I'm kind of staying back from it. You can also see my messy craft room back there. Let's just ignore that. Whatever, we all have these craft rooms, right? I know I'm not the only one that has, you know, a messy craft corner, but I'm taking my wires and I'm curling them under, and then I'm banging them into place and stapling them down. That way, so that if someone picks this up later on, it's not going to catch in anyone's clothes. You don't want that to happen. The other warning about chicken wire is that if it does scratch you, it can really hurt. So I'm not using any gloves just because I'm used to using it, but just make sure you take your time with the chicken wire if you do end up using it. Friends, I've got to tell you, it really just makes it look so much more high-end when you do use this stuff. It's so cute. It's another texture and detail. If you didn't know, I'm also over on Instagram. I would love it if you came over and said hi to me so we can get to know each other over there. I post a lot of fun sneak peeks whenever I'm working on projects. Now we're going to move on to the boxes. These are the measurements you're going to need. You're going to need 2 of each side, and you're going to also have all of these little half long strips. These are going to help us bring the corners together and make our box really strong. So you can see here that I am putting down the front part first, and then I'm putting on the side, and I'm taking those 1/2 inch strips that I showed you earlier, and I'm gluing them in to help make the corners even stronger. This is going to make your foam cord board box really sturdy and strong, and you're going to do that in every single corner. That way, so you make sure that it's really structurally strong and sound, so you don't have any problems. Now you're going to see why I didn't have a bottom piece in just a second. Foam core has a tendency to want to buckle and shift and move, and to get the exact bottom can be a little tricky, so I'm going to show you all what I'm going to do. So here I am finishing the other side. I'm just gluing everything into place, and then I'm going to add in those thin strips once again. And then once I've got those thin strips, I'm going to move on to the bottom. Now, when you're putting in these strips, make sure you put a lot of hot glue in there and then reinforce the sides. You can see me doing it here. I put a lot of glue, and then I put them even more glue on top and the sides. So here we are moving on to the bottom. I'm taking hot glue and I'm going all the way around my sides. I'm giving a nice amount. And once I've got that all done, I'm going to take it and flip it over and then put it on my board. That way, if there's anything that, you know, is maybe questionable and you're trying to cut the perfect bottom and you're having a hard time doing it, this is what I have found to be the easiest way. Now do make sure when you put it down that you adjust quickly, because this dries really quick. But if you do have some hangover in some spots, you're going to just take your X-Acto knife and you are going to cut along the sides of your box. Once you've gone all the way around and you've trimmed it all up, you're going to have a perfect box. This is the exciting part. Here comes the pattern. They have these beautiful rolls of contact paper at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just take it and wrap it around the box really quick just to make sure that I have the right measurement of this. I want to make sure that it's going to go all the way around. Now I will say that I used 1 roll for each box, so if you do plan on doing this, I'm going to use 1 roll for each box. But if you have some fabric on hand, you can always use fabric. You could always cover it with scrapbook paper. There's a lot of different things that you can do to cover these boxes, but contact paper I thought would be really pretty because I can clean it and wipe it really easy. And it'll also be really durable over time. So, plus I thought it was really pretty. I like the pattern for $1. Now here I am. I put down a little bit of hot glue. Don't put too much because the hot glue can melt the contact paper. So just do a little bit and move quickly, and then I just keep rolling it over and keep rubbing it down and making sure everything's smooth, and I went all the way up and around and glued the end. Now for the bottom of the box, you can see here that I'm slitting all the way up to the corners of the box, and then I'm going to pull them all in like you're wrapping a present. So first I came down with the flap, and now I'm going up with the flap, and I'm smoothing everything out as I'm going. This was such a tricky thing to try to film because I needed to see what I was doing, but I was also trying to let you all see at the same time. And then I brought in one side and smoothed it all out. And then at this point I added some hot glue. I'm going to take it all the way over just to make sure I have the right spot to add my hot glue. And I'm going to go all the way around the sides that are going to be brought over so that everything's all in there snug and secure. That way, so that this doesn't peel back over time when you're opening the drawer in and out. So go ahead and just put that on and smooth it all down. Now we're going to do the same thing on the top. We're going to cut down those corners, and we're going to just keep putting it inside, hot gluing it all into place and moving all the way around the box. When you get to the corners, don't cut any extra that might be kind of bunching. Just keep working with it and massaging it down until it lays flat. Contact paper actually will let you keep picking it up, but because you're using glue, you will want to make sure that you're, moving a little quickly, not too fast, but enough to be able to get it right. If you haven't yet, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out this video and my channel. Okay, the boxes are nice and perfect in our structure, and I'm going to take those tags that I showed you earlier and I'm going to just pop off those sticks. We don't need those. I thought this would be so darling. You don't have to add these, but I think little details is what really makes a project look like it's store-bought or it's custom made. And I'm just going to glue those right on the box. Not right directly in the center. I'm bringing them down a little bit because we're going to take this ribbon and we're going to have an overhang pull-out tab. I'm taking some ribbon to the length that I like. I'm folding it in half and then I'm bringing it around to the back inside of the box, and I'm adding a lot of hot glue in there to make sure it's really nice and snug. Now this ribbon from the Dollar Tree, it has a burlap feel to it, so the hot glue seeps through it when you're pushing it. Now I'm pulling the ribbon straight up and I'm sneaking my staple down in there, my regular stapler. I've been saying staple gun for so long. My regular stapler, and I'm just going to go in with some hot glue to cover those up. And they don't go all the way through the box. They go through just enough to poke into that foam core. Once the boxes are done and assembled, you can then move on to either staining or painting, whatever you want to do with this box. Now I have decided to go with a beautiful, beautiful green color. I don't know why, but green has really been something that I have just been loving. I feel like it's very calming and pretty at the same time. So I'm going over with this green. It's kind of a sage green with a little hint of olive to it, and I'm just going to paint everything this color. I'm only going to be doing one coat because I want it to soak into the wood so you can see that wood grain coming through. And then I'm going to take some white. You can see that I was watching Instagram over there, catching up on Friends, so just ignore my phone to the side. By the way, what do you all listen or do when you're crafting? Do you watch a movie? Do you listen to music? I'm sure we all have snacks. I'm just curious. Leave a comment down below to let me know what you do when you're crafting. So here I am. I'm just dry brushing on some white paint, and I very lightly dry brushed on some dark gray too. Friends, that is it for today. I hope you loved this project as much as I do. I have the perfect place to put it in my home, and I cannot wait to show you during one of my Clean With Me videos where I stage it and hang it up and use it for storage. But leave a comment down below to let me know what you think of this project, if you think it was a little too intense, or if you feel like you're going to try it. And until the next episode, bye friends!